Hello, beautiful souls. It's Dr. Danny, physician astrologer. Welcome back to my channel. So, yes, today I have a great little program for you today. Nothing too formal. I don't have a lot of astrology energy to read for you. We're going to talk about some concepts, and I want to introduce you to someone that I'll be collaborating with here in the future, and hopefully for a while now, is Dezarey with Burning Waters of the Moon. So if everybody would just put their hands together for Dezarey. Hello and welcome. Hi, Dezarey. How are
Hi.
you? How are you doing
I'm
today?
good. I'm good. How are you doing, Dr. Danny?
I am so good. I worked last night and during the day yesterday. I did a 24-hour shift, and
24
but
hours?
I actually almost slept all night.
Oh my
I
goodness.
only got one phone call, which never happens. So
Oh,
I
wow.
actually feel like a normal person today. I went and I got my hair done, and then I had a nice conversation with a friend of mine, and then just kind of relaxed this afternoon, and here we are.
Well,
So
awesome.
yeah, how
A
about
nice little
you?
chat to top the night off, right?
That's right. That's what I do on Fridays.
Yeah.
I talk astrology. So
Oh, cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I had a very busy day. I'm a mother of four, and I'm running a household, running around doing things just to keep everybody moving and grooving and on schedule. So my son and my husband went out of town, so we had to prepare for that. So it's
so
my
it's
days
just
are
you and your
always
daughter.
busy.
You and your daughter tonight.
Well, my two daughters are at home. My older son will be home a little bit later when he gets off of work, and he's bringing pizza.
Very
So,
nice.
so I don't have to cook. I didn't have to worry about that tonight, at least.
Very nice. Very
Cooking and
nice.
cleaning.
Well,
Yeah.
great. And I brought you on because you kindly volunteered. You answered my call. I said, man, I need some help with these live streams because when I'm by myself, I've got the comments, I've got the captions, I've got the chat going on. And it's just nice to be able to have someone to, help you out there, either in the background or just, to have somebody to provide some other insight with tarot cards and such. One thing we might want to do, Des, is put some headphones on you if you don't have those, because I hear
Oh,
me.
oh, you hear yourself? Okay. Yes, let me go get those. I wonder, let me see if my buds will.
Hello, Celtic Thistle Physics. Thank you for coming and watching our broadcast. We have someone from the UK watching us right now, Southwest
Oh,
UK.
wow.
I know, isn't that amazing?
It
This is
is
what I love
amazing.
about technology. Even though we're in Mercury retrograde and things are goofy sometimes, we can reach people all over the world with this. And I
Yeah,
love that. I love that. One of the things I love to do when I'm doing a presentation is present the astrology, and then whatever's challenging or whatever's easy in that particular astrology is teach a spiritual lesson with it, because I really feel like the sky teaches us lessons,
yes,
right?
yes. And it can also be a guide too, which is awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, civilizations have risen and fallen, countries have risen and fallen, people come and go, but then the sky has always been there, so
Mhm.
it's always been there. And these civilizations over time through oral tradition have sort of put that story in the sky. So it's like the hero's journey, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So I love that. And so it's everyone's story is in the sky, which is why astrology works. It's so amazing. So Lori in Washington, Lori came to say hello to you.
Oh, hi, Lori.
Very cool. Very cool.
Hello.
Awesome. Yeah,
Cool.
if you guys want to check out Desiree's she put her channel right there. I actually made
I did.
I made a little thing for you, a little here it is. This is what you'll be
Oh,
doing for me.
cute. Oh, awesome. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, I
Check
saw
out her
your
channel.
banner in your last five, and I was like, wow, that looks cool. I wonder if I could do that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's super
yeah.
fun. Super fun. So there's basically three topics I wanted to touch on tonight. Number one was the Mercury in retrograde, and just talk about Mercury in general, Mercury as a manifester, like how you see Mercury. Maybe we could draw some cards on Mercury retrograde. I don't know, give people some
Oh, yeah.
general advice, kind of bring some spirit energy through on that. Um, One of the things
Sure.
I noticed, being in healthcare and working in medicine is you notice that there are cyclic things that happen. So people will, go have certain kinds of disease problems or certain presentations in a cyclic pattern. So every month there's an influx of patients because of the lunar energy. During eclipses, there's an influx of certain kinds of diseases. During Mercury retrograde, there's all kinds of crazy things happen, like orders go wrong, surgeries go wild, things like that. And so very early on, I resisted going into astrology because I was like, wait a minute, I am noticing these things in my practice, but I'm also noticing them in the sky. And so I finally was like, you know what, let me just look into this. And then I realized that you actually had to study astrology. You had to be proficient in it before you could actually apply to medical school. Before 1600, or 1650.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, yes. I remember reading that. I do.
It was like a prerequisite. So doctors were astrologers. Forever, and when I found out that, I was just like, okay, I'm going to own this. And it was Hippocrates who said that any physician that is not any physician that does not study astrology should not consider themselves a physician. Here I am. So then one day I took my little iPad and I looked up at the sky on my birthday, and the sun was not in the actual sign Leo, where it was supposed to be, August 4th, right? Because July 21st or 20th through August 20th is Leo season, right? Everybody says that. You see it all over the place. It's time for Leo season. And so every month on the 20th, I post something on my Facebook group. It's like, okay, it's that time of the month again. Like, let's learn about this. Because the sun is still in Leo. Actually, yesterday or the day before is the supposed start of Virgo season. But the sun is actually conjunct the star Regulus right now. Where's Regulus? It's in Leo.
In Leo,
That's right. It's the kingly star. It's the heart of the lion. So anyway, just to kind of put that background in there. It's Mercury retrograde right now. And if I'm just going to share my screen real quick, because I want to kind of give everybody a quick background, sort of the celestial mechanics, sort of the science, the energy behind Mercury, so that people can understand what we're talking about. So let me grab my tabs. I guess I'll do my entire screen, but that's always crazy. Okay, let me put this down. Let me put this back up. See, we're all still learning these technologies.
Yes.
So this is why it's always nice to have people helping you out here. I don't know why I can't see my PowerPoint, because I love that, but we'll just do the whole screen then, and I'll put this down. Okay, we'll put that down. You can still see me, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And let me grab my Mercury PowerPoint, because we're going to go into this one too. Mercury is... I do a Mercury seminar. I have that on my learn.drdanny.com website. But Mercury is an object, and it's a wave. That's the way I like to think about it. And it has this 160-day synodic cycle. So it starts its cycle when it's on the other side of the sun. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, it's a little small, but I don't know how it appears to the viewers. But
so on this side, it's an inferior conjunction. So you have Earth, then you have Sun, then you have Mercury. Okay. And that is the actual beginning of a Mercury celestial cycle. As it moves around the sun this way, okay? And this is if you believe you live on a rock, okay? For most people, I don't know. I kind of see them all as circles in the sky, so I figure that's what they are. Mercury's on the other side of the sun. And then when it goes retrograde, it's moving in front of the sun. You see that?
Okay.
And then it comes around, and then you have an inferior conjunction. This is what was going on Monday during that full moon. We had Moon, Earth, Mercury, Sun, all in a row like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a very powerful day, because Mercury's energy is so close to us. It's actually, it's closer than Venus, and Venus is supposed to be closer to us as the second planet in the solar system. So this is when Mercury's energy is most intense, and it's moving retrograde on the chart, moving retrograde in the sky. And then it hits another inflection point over here where it stations direct again. And then the cycle begins anew. Okay.
Okay.
So that makes sense,
Right.
right?
So Mercury's retrograde when it's in front of
When it's between Earth and Sun, yes.
Earth, and oh, gotcha. Okay.
Right. So if you keep that in mind and you think about these orbital periods, think of them as like a cycle per second, like you would think of a frequency or hertz. So a vibration is cycles per second. So they think about it in hertz or frequency of sorts. You can see
Mm-hmm.
that on the chart as well. Um, but the reason that it works is because that there's this idea that um, objects, matter, is also a wave, right? You've heard of the wave
Mm-hmm.
particle duality theory, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure. Most people
Mm-hmm.
have. Anybody that's sort of into the metaphysics knows about wave particle duality. In other words, it's a state of superposition. So it's everything until it's actually observed. So when our collective observes the planet of Mercury, it just basically collapses into the planet. But when we're not looking at it, it is unconsciously and or consciously having this frequency type effect on us. And it works because of electromagnetic and gravity fields. I mean, anytime you Venus, for example, when she moves between Earth and Sun, actually has a minute effect on our gravity. It can actually affect our tides. And so what you end up with is this pulse that lasts about every 116 days. So it's not cycles per second. Now it's like cycles per year. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
Mercury has three or four big cycles per year. And as Mercury is moving towards us, as it's emanating from its electromagnetic field, its wave energy is coming towards us, we get this compression of these waves. And so the frequency of the intensity increases, right? Just like if a
Ah.
siren were coming towards you, those sound waves get compressed and you hear a higher pitched sound.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is what it might look like if we were thinking about the intensity of Mercury energy. So this is the station retrograde, stations direct, inferior conjunction, superior conjunction, and then back again. Okay. So this is where we were on Monday. And now Mercury is running away from us. It's going the other direction away from us. And so you get this decreased effect. If we are here, the wavelengths actually separate a little bit. And so you get a lesser intensity. And so what
Mm-hmm.
people that use Mercury energy, which is communication, transmission, transaction energy, they feel a little bit less connected to that as it moves away. Okay?
Ah, yeah.
Right? And so we are also transmitters and receivers. Our brain is just like that planetoid. It is doing the same thing. It is emitting and receiving. And so how do you work with Mercury energy? Well, you've got to adjust your own frequencies, right? So that you can create certain interference patterns with that particular planet. So if you combine frequencies and you put them together, you can get a constructive interference where the highs are really high and the lows are really low. You can get a completely destructive interference where it doesn't affect you at all. And this is people like you that were born with Mercury in retrograde, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so people that are born with Mercury in retrograde, where is it? I have that. Where is it? Here we go. About 18% of people are born with Mercury in retrograde. So those with Mercury retrograde processes, they do information differently. Their thinking is acute. Their sense of humor tends to be a little bit different. They also have more hidden energies as well. There's delays and doubts, and then they have more philosophical leanings. So I think whenever Mercury's retrograde, those with retrograde in their chart feel like the rest of us do when Mercury is not retrograde. That's my theory.
Mm. Okay. So
Right?
we're a mess. We're a mess more often, right?
Yes. No, you do better with it. You do better with it for sure. And currently, Mercury is in the constellation of Leo right now. And Leo is the energy of the self, it's energy of the heart, it's energy of expression, right? So
Mhm.
we've got this intense energy of Mercury. And so now the tropical astrologers will tell you Mercury is in Virgo right now, which is a whole different type of energy because Virgo is the birthing mother sky goddess. It's supposedly where Mercury rules. So Mercury is, exalted there as a ruler.
Mhm.
But Mercury in reality is actually in the constellation of Leo. So we've got
Mhm.
this retrograde, this intense energy. It's really, really high frequency Mercury energy coming at us through the energy of Leo. And so it could be an inner exploration of the self. It could be for people like you, an outer exploration, trying to find the new self, getting out there doing
Mhm.
lives. Because I know you did your first live the other day,
I
which was
did.
awesome.
Yeah. Thank
That was
you.
great. Yes, yes. And personally, I like to. This is now that I'm going to give you guys the secret sauce about Mercury, because when I was not consciously working with Mercury cycles, what would happen to me is that when my sarcastic brain would sort of make a joke in my head about something, maybe something dark or whatever that only I would think is funny. I don't know if you feel
Mhm.
like that ever. Um,
I do.
sometimes those things would externally manifest to my surprise.
Ah,
I mean,
okay.
it was pretty strange. And so when I began to work consciously with it, you have to actually develop a little bit of mindfulness. You have to watch what you're thinking because
Yeah,
because
that
yeah,
makes total
because
sense.
if you
Uh-huh.
don't, if you don't, you're going to get what you're thinking. Thoughts become things.
Right. Mhm.
Okay. Waves and particles are the same thing until they're observed. So a thought could be considered a wave, and then the manifestation is the particle. I hope I'm making sense.
Wow, yeah,
let's,
yeah,
let's let's see how the chat feels about all this. Okay. All right. Where thought goes, energy flows. That's right.
yeah.
And
So this little chat thing, that's everybody who's chatting, or is that just what you're letting through as a moderator?
I am letting everyone chat right now.
Okay.
I'm not moderating anybody, so if somebody says something snarky, I might be able to do it from my other computer up here, but hopefully everybody's just in here love and light, trying to seek
Nice.
information,
Yeah.
trying to learn more things. I mean,
All right.
if you're not, that's fine, and you can always disagree with me, and but be thoughtful about it. That's my only thing.
Mhm.
I'm happy to have a discourse, but if it's thoughtful and logical and polite, basically, because I'm not
Yes.
coming out here saying F you
Yes.
guys or anything like that. I'm just saying
Right.
this is the way I
Right.
do it, and this is what's helped me. This is what's helped me,
Mhm.
truly walk through life in a conscious way, in a mindful way.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and so, how do I work with this cycle? When do I do it? It's very similar to the moon. Okay. So I know
Mhm.
you work with moon energy,
I
burning
do.
water to the moon,
Yes.
obviously. So, and you know how at the new moon you set intentions, you do the
Mhm.
new moon rituals so that, the manifestations of the full moon will be, um, uh, you know, manifested once
Birthing
the moon is
something.
well.
Yes.
Yeah, you're
Uh-huh.
birthing something. So it's very similar.
Mhm.
Mercury is very similar, but
Mhm.
the cycle's just a little bit longer. And
Right. Right.
yeah. Oh, Bliss
That's
Wellness
amazing. I
Yoga
had never.
says there's
What?
5 in here now and we love you. This is what,
Oh.
yeah. So thank you. I love
Oh,
you too.
greetings, beautiful soul. Oh, hi, Celtic Thistle Physics. Yes. Oh, this is super cool. I mean, when I joined live, I couldn't sign into my account, so I don't think I could see if anybody was chatting with me. So it was difficult.
Yeah,
So,
you can just watch your channel as a viewer and you can see your own chat, I think. Or
yeah, okay.
if you're already in your studio, you can do the settings and go to your channel. So you're in your channel and you should be able to do that. I think you can.
Okay.
I don't know. We're
Okay.
all
Yeah,
learning. We are going to
I
be
know.
experts. Yeah.
I'll just have
Yeah.
to play with it and figure it out. I'll get the hang of it. I just got to do, 10 more.
Yeah. Well, you know what's so cool is that when we start growing, you guys, is that, the ladies that are in here now, the people that are in this chat right now with us, they're going to be the veterans. They're going to be probably the moderators for when we have thousands of people in here. So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah. So you guys are the veterans. You guys are the ones that kind of helped us get this all off the ground. So very exciting. Yes.
It's exciting.
Um, so when Mercury is in that superior conjunction, when it's all the way at the other side of the sun, it is being
Mhm.
occulted by the sun. Okay. So the synchronicities, the energy of Mercury will actually only be felt through the gracious light of the sun. And what does the sun do? It shines, It's the home of it's the ruler of Leo. The sun rules Leo too. It shines on everything, and that is reflected back to our eyes as synchronicities.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's the only like deal we get with Mercury when it is that far away from us. But it is the
Mhm.
perfect time to send Mercury the intentions that we want to make. Okay,
When it's in the inferior,
superior when it's on the other side.
superior, what's on the other side? Okay.
Yeah, so Earth, Sun, Mercury. So when it's all the way over
Okay.
there, that is when you say, I want this to happen. And the
Mhm.
key is not to just say it, but also to take just some kind of little action. Okay. And I'm going to give you a real world example because I have an amazing announcement for you guys. Those of you that are in the live are going to get this announcement. Okay. Because this whole live tonight is to basically tell the story of how you can use this energy to make something happen for you. So you set your intention, and then by the time Mercury swings back around and is right here in front of your face, it's going to bring it to you. It's going to bring it to you. I've been doing this for 2 years. I've been practicing with it and using it, and it works. And you will get clues. You will get. It may not like come the way you think it will, but it will eventually come, and it usually comes within that cycle. Okay, so now that we understand all of that, here's what happened. You guys ready for this? I'm so excited. So last June, or this past June, 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago now, I went ahead and thought to myself, I want to grow my channel. I want to get more subscribers. I want to get more people into this information. I want them to understand constellational astrology. I want them to hear these spiritual teachings. I have a message. I'm coming out of 12th house energy. I'm about to be out there. Okay. This is what I'm feeling. And I said, I am going to contact a channel that I want to get on there and talk to them about their content and my content. So I sent the email. That's what I did when Mercury was inferior or superior conjunct. And I just forgot about it. I just said, okay, if he doesn't answer, that's fine. Literally, and I'm not kidding you, as soon as Mercury turned retrograde, he responded to me.
Oh.
He responded to me. And I got the date for the time when we're going to meet and do a podcast together on Monday, when Mercury was right there.
You told me about that, didn't you?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's the last example. If you're not getting chills or sweating right now, then you should be, because this is amazing. This is incredible. So, that's how you can
Are you
use.
going to tell everybody who it is?
I don't know. Should I?
I don't know.
I think I'm going to hold that announcement because I
Okay.
want to wait until Mercury is out of retrograde before I speak it to.
Oh, you did say that. Yes. Okay.
But it is coming, and so I'm super excited. But it's a big channel, so we're going to be bringing in more subscribers. We're going to be bringing in more people to this channel, more people to our content, and I am just over the moon.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yes. I never thought about using any other planet or anything to help manifest. I just always really focused on the moon and just never really thought about using another planet. Can you do that with other planets, Jupiter, Venus, and...
I've been doing it with Venus, and I've been doing it with Mercury. So the personal planets.
Okay. So the personal planets.
I think that the outer planets will give support to the interpersonal planets. That's what I think.
Okay.
So, I'm working on it, One planet, you got to go through some cycles, and Venus cycles are a little bit longer. Mars cycles are 2.5 years, and then Jupiter cycles are 12 years.
Yeah.
Now, what I did notice about Jupiter is that there is a 12-year cycle, and I just lived through that. When Jupiter went over my ascendant 12 years ago, I went from residency to private practice, and then when it just did that just now, like back in April, May of this year, I went from private practice to a completely different job where I just do ER.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Jupiter can affect your career cycle, especially if you anchor it and watch where it is in terms of your natal Saturn. Okay. So if you look at where your natal Saturn is, let's say it's like right there on your ascendant, for example, that's where your natal Saturn is. If Jupiter is coming around, then that's like a new lunar cycle for Jupiter. So Jupiter will begin its 12-year transit, and you have a quarter moon Jupiter, you have a full moon Jupiter, and then you have a last quarter moon Jupiter, and then a new Jupiter. And that
Right.
that signifies a career cycle for you. So I do know that. And then, of course, Saturn has a 30-year cycle. So those are huge. Those are like enormous life changes. So just
The
think back.
Saturn return, is that what everyone's always talking about?
Yeah. So between 27 and 30 years old, that's when you have your Saturn return. And that's usually a huge shift for people. And then again, 60 years
Mm-hmm.
old. So
Mm-hmm.
Teresa says she's stuck in a long Saturn return.
Stuck in a long one.
Yeah, yeah. So I get it. All right. So, Dezarey, tell us more about you, and then I would love for you to like pull a spread, show people what you do and how you read your tarot cards, and give us a little bit of
Okay, yeah.
energy around this Mercury retrograde, and anything that comes through for you.
So I started my channel. I've been reading tarot cards for I'm going to say 6 years. And, I've read for friends and family and all of that. And I just had the itch for 2, maybe 3 years just to share it. I was like, I should start a YouTube channel. And I never really did because I was just kind of afraid, I guess you could say. And then I started practicing a lot of indigenous work. I got in touch with my Mexican heritage, and I started going to like Temescal, going to sweats and stuff like that, and working with my ancestors. And I started reading my cards for myself and like the collective, and it just kept coming around to me about sharing. Um, Sharing my journey in transformation and how I transformed myself, and when I go into Temescal, I really feel sort of a cleansing with the Temescal. And so, for those that you don't know, a sweat lodge is basically you go into like this lodge and it's covered, it's really dark, and you're going into your mother's womb, right? You're going in there, and you're getting a cleansing, and it's like a rebirth in a way. There's singing, there's drumming, there is hot rocks in the center, and the person who's facilitating the Temescal will pour the water over the hot rocks. And so we have all 4 of the elements present, singing for air, the rocks for earth, water, and steam. And so where I got the idea from my channel is from that experience. Burning waters is the water being poured over the hot rocks and being transformed into like releasing yourself, being transformed into steam, right? And so that's where I get the idea of the burning waters. And then of the moon, I just had to throw the moon in there because I've been working with the moon almost, I don't know, 10 years. I started with crystals and cleansing my crystals and stuff like that. And then I started making moon water, and I don't even know how, but one day I just started talking to the moon, and the moon started talking back. And I actually, I have to maybe map it out and see maybe if that was my Saturn return, but I went through a big transformation myself. I was very, what's the word? Just real closed in tight, not wanting to share my feelings, just not wanting to open up to people, just really closed in. I was very secretive about things that I did with my crystals and tarot when I started reading tarot. And when I started working with the moon, it's like I started to blossom, to bloom.
Okay.
And I went through some healing along with the change in diet and some fasting and things like that. I mean, there's many ways to work with the moon. Then I started working with my ancestors. Let me turn my phone down.
And then real life happens.
Yes, always. That's my life. I'm always being interrupted, and then I have cats. They're always jumping on me when I'm trying to do videos and stuff. Hang on, let me close this door. Sorry, guys. my daughter left it open. I was going to text her to close it, but I just got involved in the conversation. So anyway, me working with the moon and working with sweat lodges and the Themyscira energy and working with my ancestors and just having my altar, it really changed a lot of things in my life. It gave me a voice. When I was younger, I was part of the I grew up where children are to be seen and not heard, and so it caused me and my brothers and sisters a lot of, I guess, trauma, that we couldn't express ourselves. We couldn't express sadness. We couldn't express when we were upset. And and we carried that into adulthood, and I just noticed one day that that was starting to hinder me. And I went through some transformations in working with the moon, and actually physically releasing that a couple of times. And just the experiences that I've had, just doing those ceremonies, working with the cards, using the cards as guides, as a guide to kind of help me, to figure things out. And I would highly recommend all of the stuff that I do. And that's what I want to share in my channel. The ways that I have kind of come to clarity with things in my life and things that have happened to me. And I use the cards. I think that they're great. And so for people who don't think that they can actually channel energy, I always tell them that there are 78 different cards here, 78 random things that can be put together depending on what your spread is, to give you a different idea, to look at something in a different way that you never would have thought of. So for people who don't think that you can channel energy or that you can't talk to someone, look at it that way. Look at it that you can pull 3 cards and see that there's a 3 of swords with the high priestess energy and the moon energy, and kind of just look at it and see what that means to you, what the colors of the cards, how they work together, the scenery in the cards, and what you know of what the cards mean. So that's basically what my channel's about, just kind of transformation. And my readings are to help kind of highlight or show something that might not be readily able to be seen, because especially when you're working with your shadow, it's hard to see that you're in a cycle that's been with you your entire life, and it's hard for you to kind of pull out from a bird's eye view and say, hey, that's not really serving me anymore. At one point it was good for me to keep my mouth shut, but now I need to express that. I need to release that. And it's empowering to be able to do that.
Yeah.
To express yourself. Yeah.
People need you,
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I love about this technology is that you can, so for me, as a doctor, I would say the same thing over and over every single day. Every time I saw a patient that had the same problem, it was over and over and over. And now I can say the message to a bunch of people at the same time. So it's really, it's really great. And you have a nice, easy energy about you. I could see you teaching tarot too.
Oh, thank you.
I can see that. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. You want to show us what you got?
Sure. Okay. Let's see if we can recreate what we did before we went live. Okay. I'm going to change my camera view, guys. Meow.
Yeah, she had there we go. Cool.
Okay.
Let me see.
So there's my phone. Let's see if it'll focus. Okay. And so right here.
Sorry.
Let's see. It's okay. Which way do I need to go? I always get confused with where everything is, because it's like sometimes the camera turns things around, but okay, so right here, I work with the elements as well as the moon. So I have water and fire, and this is earth, this little quartz crystal. And in our traditions, we use shells. they're called atakakoli, right? And so that represents air because we blow through that, and it's kind of like a horn in a way. And so I work with the elements as well. And my invocations that I do when I'm working with my altar and before I do readings and such, I always call in the elements to help me, um, in addition to my ancestors. So, all right. So I have these two decks, and they're actually pretty cool. I have a lot of decks. I probably shouldn't have as many as I do, but I like to collect things. So, crystals, pets. I've got 3 cats and and 3 dogs.
Yeah, for sure. For
uh, 4 kids. So, okay. So, what do we want to read, Dr. Danny? What do
Let's
you?
let's read about the like maybe the collective energy for the rest of this Mercury cycle, because once Mercury comes back around to its superior conjunction, like we talked about, that is going to be the exact moment of the solar eclipse that is coming on October 2nd.
Oh,
Okay, so
wow.
yeah, so we have about
Oh,
5, 6
goodness.
weeks. We have about 5, 6 weeks before we're in that energy where we can manifest again. And so maybe in spirit of the last half of the Mercury cycle, what do we need to let go of so that we can find the intention that truly brings us to our next best manifestation? Maybe
Okay.
like what can we let go of?
All right. Let's see. What can we let go of as a collective? Let me do one more shuffle. So I usually use 2 decks in my readings, okay? And this is a deck by Lamucci called Phantom Tarot. It's pretty bright. I like it. So we've got the 4 of Wands. This is fire energy. We have the Devil in reverse. And we have the 8 of Wands in reverse as well. So we've got fire energy here. And the 4 of Wands is a card of coming together and celebrating. The Devil, of course, nobody really likes to have the Devil, but the Devil is real earth energy. It's very Capricorn in nature, and it's about holding on to things that don't really serve you, that kind of hinder you. It's just an energy that's very earth energy, all of your senses, and it can deal with addiction and things like that. And then we've got the 8 of Wands here, and this is a very action card, very actionary card. So these 2 cards are in reverse, and so I'm just going to go ahead and pull out my other cards. Sometimes I can get a read on these first 3 cards. Sometimes I need these other.
And sometimes too, the cards tell us we're not supposed to know something. I've had that before.
Tell us you're not supposed to know something.
Yeah, like right now, I'm not going to tell you. Like
Right.
like I think it's the it's not the Empress, it's the other one.
The High Priestess.
Yes, the High Priestess. Like she's the secret, right? Like
Yeah,
there's yeah.
she's the one, the deep diver. Do you read cards, Dr.
I
Daniel?
actually yes, I was actually gifted my first tarot deck in
Oh,
2020. And
awesome.
I used to go to fairs and I would do a chakra spread on people, and then I would do a little astrology reading on them. So I love putting the two together. I think the
Oh,
cards can
right.
help. Yeah.
Do you attribute uh, the zodiac signs to the cards?
I know you can do that, but I'm not as well versed in that.
Okay.
And I don't do reverse either. Like I'll
You don't
fix
do
it.
reversals? Okay. I like reversals. I started with reversals, and so I just kind of kept it going. We've got the Devil again down here, y'all. Okay, so we've got the Knight of Rods, fire, 9 of Pentacles, 10 of Swords in reverse, Queen of Rods in reverse, Knight of Swords in reverse, King of Swords in reverse, the Fool, 6 of Rods, and the Devil. So this deck down here, this is actually a really old deck from like the 70s.
Oh wow.
It's I got it on eBay. It's the Aquarian Tarot by David Palladini. And these cards are actually pretty cool. Like you can tell they're like from the 60s. You check that out.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so Four of Wands, Knight of Rods, Nine of Pentacles, and the Fool. So I kind of feel like it's looking like we need to release things that are keeping us like stagnant. We have the Four of Wands here, which is good energy. It's a good, it's kind of like a card of celebration, people coming together, just happy times, right? But it's right next to the Devil in reverse. And I feel that there are happy times, but I feel like there's some things that haven't quite ended, right? We have the Ten of Swords in reverse here and the Queen of Rods. And I feel underneath the Six of Rods, like all of this is in reverse here. And I feel like there are some happy times, but I feel like there are some things that need to be addressed that haven't quite been addressed. Like maybe there might be some resentment going on. And especially with this Devil upright down here, I do feel like there are some things that have been pushed deep down inside that need to be addressed. Like I said, King of Swords, Knight of Swords. Now these two are very cerebral. King of Swords and the Knight of Swords, the Knight of Swords is a quick actor, right? He acts impulsively in reverse, especially. And the King of Swords can be a little harsh, right? So I feel
Like
what's
maybe there's
going
something that
on.
needs to be said. There's something that needs to be said, right?
Yes, and I
Yep.
feel that it needs to be said in a way of with the Fool here. I feel it needs to be said in a way that you kind of have to let go of your inhibitions, right? You have to let go of what you've learned in the past and what you're not maybe becoming. So the whole idea of the Fool is kind of a reckless abandon, right? Just kind of going through the world, doing whatever it is that you want to do, and just not really caring what everyone else has to say. So with the Nine of Pentacles here, I do feel that there is some energy that you have to bring to the situation, as far as using this carefree energy of the Fool, and really expressing the things that you have drilled down or really hidden within yourself for whatever reason that is. And I think using Mercury is going to be great, right? Using Mercury to express yourself. So, how could we put an intention that we want to release or even find out what this is? Because it's looking like it's pretty buried. It's something that's deep down inside, but it's really there. Okay. So how can we figure out what that is? I always say, kind of working with the moon, and maybe starting a dialogue that way. But working with Mercury, how once we figure out what it is, how do we say, hey, Mercury, this I figured out what it is. How do I actually uh, drum up the courage to say what it is that I haven't said for so long,
Oh,
right? How
yeah.
do I bring myself out of inaction to to do this that I haven't done for so long?
Wow. I feel that. I feel like there's a lot of things that people need to say, that there is a lot of especially when you look at the media, there's a lot of illusion out there, a lot of falseness, a lot of lies being told almost, and when I see all that in reverse, I almost see it like it's coming from somewhere else too, like you're almost looking at an upside down mirror. I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm
Oh
I'm a
no,
little
no,
rusty on my cards. Um,
yeah,
but
you've got
it's
to use your intuition too. Like,
yeah,
this is my interpretation. If you see something different, that's what's speaking to you.
yeah. Yeah,
So
there's something
when
that needs to come out that everyone doesn't know about yet, and it's very dark, and it's probably not going to be nice for a lot of people. But I think once they hear it, once they process it, once they integrate it, then they'll be able to set intentions for their higher good because they'll know the whole truth, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we always know the answer to the question. Sometimes we don't want to face actually what it is. But for the most part, I feel the answer is within us. And sometimes it just takes some deep diving, to figure out what it is and to figure out how we're going to work with it. And it also takes courage to actually change, a lifelong habit that you've had. And then and also too, when you release something, when you say something that hasn't been said for so long, I especially if you say it to someone else, it really helps that relationship. Sometimes the relationship can come to an end, right? Because the other person might not be happy what you said. But from your perspective, if when you release that, you are no longer holding on to that anchor anymore. So it's almost like a part of your soul is lighter now. You're set free in a way. And that's also what the devil is about. It's also about bondage. We've got these people here who are tied in chains right here at the bottom of his days that he has right there. And it's about the devil is about keeping those things quiet. I have one tarot deck where the devil is like this really ethereal woman, and she has her finger over her lips, like kind of shushing you, with this gaze. And I think that's a very wonderful representation of the devil. Um, and and it's about keeping those secrets. It's about keeping things hidden, which is keeping you deep in the earth energy and not allowing yourself to sort of transcend that heaviness and rise above, to be that soulful light being that you truly are, you know.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. So that is our message for this Mercury cycle. I like
Yeah, so try to figure out what it is that's deep down within you that's got to be released. And that's going to bring you to this Four of Wands energy, I think. And you can really utilize the energy of the Fool, this carefree person, almost like a child, approaching something as a child with some curiosity um, and just kind of coming at it without the experience, so to say, as an adult, without the jadedness as an adult, but really expressing yourself the way a child would express, the way they express themselves. They
Yeah,
tell you like that
absolutely.
doesn't look good on you,
And that's very Leo energy. It really is. Leo is about the child. It's about the innocence. Do you want to come back to your face?
Sure. Let me see how. Okay, I forgot I wasn't on my face. Let's see. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was absolutely spot on.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Oh,
I
it
feel that.
switched. Oh no,
Oh
now
well,
it's
I did that so
good.
because what I did is I put your spread in the big screen so that everybody could
Okay.
see what was going on there. That was really amazing because I
Oh,
am feeling that. I'm feeling like there is some stuff that just needs to be said. It just needs to be brought to the surface and pushed out
mhm.
there. And it's Pluto work. Pluto's retrograde right now. Pluto's retrograde in Sagittarius in the constellations, meaning that our this is the last time Pluto will dip back in there, and it's our opportunity to really like get at the foundations of our spirituality, of the true wisdom, of the fundamental truth of ourselves.
So, what
Um,
does that mean for you when Pluto's in Sagittarius? So, Pluto is like transformation, right?
Pluto's transformation. Pluto is secrets. Pluto is also the god of wealth. So Pluto takes a really long time to go around the zodiac. So it will spend a good 15, 20 years in a sign. or in a
Right.
constellation. And so being in Sagittarius, which is higher wisdom, higher learning, the truth, our spiritual foundations, the esoteric wisdom, channeling, that kind of stuff, that's Sagittarius energy. Think of the last 50 years. I mean, all of that's kind of come to the front. We no longer believe in the things we used to, right?
Right,
We're,
right. And
we're
things like
subscribing to.
tarot, people are more accepting of it, and it's not so, people are actually wanting to learn how to do like brujeria, which is like Mexican folk magic.
Oh,
My
yeah.
grandmother used to rub us with eggs when we would get sick.
Yeah.
and
Yeah. At those
and
fairs I
there's
go to,
ladies
they do that.
teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
there's
stuff
ladies
comes out
teaching
of
it
the
on
egg
the
too.
internet. Yeah. The bad juju goes into the egg, and you crack it and put it under the bed, and I mean, and I was just shocked to see that people were teaching that on the internet, and I was like, well, that's pretty cool. My grandmother used to do that to me. So yeah, it's amazing the way things have changed, and I've also noticed how young people are coming to realizations much sooner. Like, I just really kind of went through my blossoming, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago. And I'll meet like a 30-year-old who she's talking about doing things like this and having fun, and not having fun, but like becoming in touch with spirituality, and being with spirit and stuff like that. And I mean, I wasn't thinking about that stuff when I was 30. I mean,
Yeah, me either.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
I
completely
know
different world, and I think it is
it is.
because they're exposed to the internet, and they
Mhm.
have access to everything, and so the internet
Right.
can be good, the internet can be bad,
Can
right?
be bad, right? Like everything else.
Mhm.
Coke is delicious, but if I have too much, I get really bloated, and I'm like, have a terrible headache. So that's my
Yeah,
favorite drink, and it just makes me so sick if I have too much of it. So
I know.
I have to limit myself. I can only have it on Saturdays. I know. I was like,
Like a
it's
true recovering
terrible.
Coca-Cola addict.
Yes.
Only on Saturdays.
Only on Saturdays. And I can only
Yeah.
have two. 'Cause-
That's funny.
yes.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yes.
Good, good. Well, that was incredible. I'm not
Thank
going to
you.
belabor Venus in Virgo too much, but you get a
Okay.
similar pattern with Venus, just like
Mhm.
Mercury, because it's an inner planet. Um, I don't know if anybody has any questions in the chat. I've been watching. We haven't had too many
Oh,
questions.
yeah.
Lady Spellbreaker did say Pluto and Capricorn is going to bring about some big changes, and when it finally stays in there, you'll be able to feel it. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's going to
Okay.
rip down. I think it's going to break down all of those institutions, all of those structures that we've been so used to. I think they're going to start to change. And Pluto's slow, y'all. So it's not going to be like, oh my God, my school was there yesterday and now it's gone. It's going to be more like, here's a tide of change where we're going to do it differently. It's going to, by
Mm.
the time Pluto is done with the real constellation of Capricorn, the structures that we have are going to be completely different. So so yeah, but yeah, Venus does the same thing. It's the same energy. It is also a frequency. It is a much slower frequency. Remember how Mercury was 116 days? Venus's
Mhm.
cycle is 584 days.
Oh, wow.
So it's,
Okay.
so it's a 20-month cycle. And when Venus is at her inferior conjunction with the sun, that is very intense Venus energy.
Mhm.
And last August was the last inferior conjunction. Her superior conjunction coincided with the last time, with early June, when I was talking about that Mercury energy also being in superior conjunction. So we had both
Mhm.
Venus and Mercury on the other side of the sun conjunct each other.
I
So
think I
so
remember
they're
that. I
yeah,
think I
so
watched one of your videos on that. Uh-huh.
their new cycles coincided. So it was a
Mhm.
great time to really do like manifestation, working with your creative cycle, that kind of thing. And so for me, the bigger Venus cycle is just bringing the creations to fruition. I mean, I have bigger visions. I want to get, learned out Dr. Danny bigger. I want more courses in there. I want to collaborate with people, and I've been doing that. So, I've got Don
Mm-hmm.
doing his courses, and Maria did a course with us. And then for those of you that know Uma from One Sky Astrology, he is also going to teach a course with us. It's going to be Uranus in October. And then we've got
Oh,
two
that's
more
gonna be
planets
fun.
we're going to do. So we'll have an entire planet series already done on my website. And so that's been my overall vision. And part of the this creative cycle with Venus was to collaborate more. And so you guys have been seeing me do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing. And it's not all like it just comes to you. You have to speak your intentions. You have to take small actions towards it. So if it's an email, or if it's mentioning it to somebody in passing, or if it's, what can I do today, that something small that will help me manifest that later. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
so Venus moved into Virgo today.
Oh, okay. And
The
isn't
bird?
that her fall, right? That's Venus's.
No,
No.
no. I personally feel like we need to change that paradigm, because
Oh,
Venus
yes.
represents the divine feminine, and
Mm-hmm.
Virgo is the only constellation that is feminine.
Right. And yes, and she's got all those galaxies in
And she's
her
got
and
all these
everything.
problems, right? She's got all these problems
Yeah.
with hypercriticality and self-critical
Mm-hmm.
and not feeling like she's
Mm-hmm.
perfect and good. I don't think so. I think Venus in Virgo, the pregnancy energy, the gestation energy, is the highest
Mm-hmm.
form of physical service that a human can perform
Yes.
to the
Right.
creation, is to bring a
I
new
love
soul
being
forth.
pregnant. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never been pregnant, but I love pregnant women.
Oh,
You know what I
yes. It's
mean?
such,
Like, so
yeah. I loved it. I loved being pregnant. I loved giving birth. I gave birth in the hospital one time and I was like, nope, not anymore. So I gave birth to both of my daughters in my house, right? One of them was an accident. I did it by myself.
oh my gosh.
And I did. Well, so I didn't really know I was actually that
In
my contractions didn't seem like they were
regular.
consistent, regular, right? And so I didn't call my midwife, but I had to call my husband to come home because I was having extreme back labor. And so, like, he comes home and I'm like in full labor, and he calls the midwife, and she's like, "Oh my God, you got to get her now," because I guess she heard my guttural scream, right? And so he was
I've heard that.
downstairs loading up the car. Yeah. And while he was loading up the car, I was like, I have to push. Like, I cannot hold this in. There's no way. So I pushed 3 or 4 times and she slid out. My husband comes upstairs and I'm holding this baby and I'm like, she's blue. And I'm like, is she alive? He's like, yeah, she's crying. And I'm like, well, why is she blue? And he's like, I don't know, but let's wrap her up. And so I don't know. We just wrapped her up. I sat on the toilet and I'm just holding this baby. And I'm just like, this is the best thing that has ever happened to me. Like, I guess the endorphins were coming through and I'm holding this baby. And, I was at home and I was like, this is the best. This is where I want to have all my kids. And so I had all my kids here at home. So,
That's a
uh,
beautiful story.
yeah,
I love that.
it was, yes, it was, that was my best birth, believe it or not. I had back labor and Zachary was my oldest. He was maybe 3.5 or 4. And I'm in labor in the bathroom on the toilet, holding my back. And Zachary's playing with his cars and in the bathroom, like, and it was just cute. We were all just kind of there, and it was nice not to have to drive in labor because that hurts. I remember that was just
Yeah, and it's
uncomfortable.
fraught with anxiety. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've had some
Yeah.
patients come that have already delivered, like either in the ambulance or the elevator or on the stretcher and triage. Yeah, and then you come in, you're like, those are my favorite patients. I don't have to do anything. They
You
just
don't have
have
to
their
do
own baby.
anything, right? Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a great
It's
story. Oh my
amazing.
gosh. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
I loved all that breastfeeding, having babies, and it was just cool.
So yeah, you're basically speaking the Venus energy through Virgo. That's what it is. It's beautiful energy that maybe isn't pretty, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
That
That's
isn't.
all first not
It's
pretty.
not clean. It's not
I
pretty,
know.
but it's
No.
fucking beautiful. It is
is.
fucking
It's
beautiful. So yeah, that
mhm.
is Venus and Virgo energy for me. And I don't
Mhm.
consider her in her fall. I only consider her in the fall
Right.
if Mercury is selling her to the highest bidder
No, kitty.
as
No,
the
no, no, no,
ruler,
no.
right? You know,
Right.
with the medicalized births and the in vitro fertilization and the
Mhm.
the genital mutilation and all that stuff. I mean, that's where we were, and we need to go back to more of that, you know, letting the
Right.
body do what it's supposed to do. The human female knows how to give birth.
Knows exactly.
Yeah.
They do. And it's like I instinctively knew to squat, like it wasn't, it's uncomfortable to be on your back when you're in labor. I think it is. It's uncomfortable. Like the best thing I think is to squat. That was the easiest thing. And it opens up the birth canal, right? When you're like
Mhm.
squatting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, here's my cat. This is Roxy. She
How fun.
is such a
I have a lot of
beautiful
astrology
cat.
friends that have cats.
I watched the one like what was that
The
astrologer that
panel?
had all the
Yeah,
cats?
yeah. That was
Yes,
when we all
yes,
discussed the whole Venus and Virgo thing. And actually,
yes.
Uma from One Sky is in that panel. So if you guys want to meet him, go watch that. And he actually melted my brain during that
Oh,
discussion
oh
because
wow, okay.
what he said is, wait a minute, I don't know about, I like Venus there, but what about the asteroids? I said, okay, go on.
Mm,
And he went ahead and he described because as he was talking about the asteroid series, which is about the size of our moon, I want to say maybe a little bit bigger than Pluto. He
mm-hmm.
started describing this feminine archetype. And I said, Michael, all of the asteroids have a feminine energy, a feminine goddess associated with them. And it feels like to me, like every time we find a new asteroid, we're giving it a feminine goddess, and it's almost reflecting the fractalized or splintered, fractured nature of the divine feminine.
Mm,
And,
hmm,
and
yeah, I
he
remember
was
you
like,
said that.
then he was like, wait a minute, no, 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 no. Let's think about this because the asteroid belt was one planet, and so what if it was this beautiful, watery, feminine world that counterbalanced all that masculine energy?
Oh,
In the cosmic energy, and it got fractalized and obliterated,
right,
right? And
right. And
so you could say that the asteroid belt could be the ruler of Virgo, because
uh-huh.
here we are in we have this like cosmic trauma that happened that is reflected in our collective
Mm.
trauma of the divine feminine. So
As above, so below. Oh my
totally.
goodness.
Doesn't that
Yeah,
melt your brain just
yeah.
a little bit? Yeah,
That
me
does.
too.
I must have missed that part of the video. So I vaguely remember that part, but I do remember you saying that all the asteroids had that feminine energy.
Mhm.
So yeah, yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. That is just so cool to be able to think about that like that.
I know, I know.
What
What are you
can you
doing,
see?
kitty?
I don't know. Yeah, they just. Oh my gosh. All right, let's get down. Goodness. Oh my gosh. All right. Always messing me up. Okay.
Cool. Well, Desiree, it has been an honor to have you here, and I really
Oh,
appreciate
thank
you.
you.
And
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you so
I
much.
love your
This
energy,
is
and
great.
I think our audience loves your energy, and so you're welcome to come on and talk to me anytime, even when you are
Yay.
doing the background stuff. If I
Okay.
have I can do a specific presentation, and you can monitor the chat for me if you want. And then
Yes.
maybe we
Yes.
can do a little tarot afterwards and see what the cards feel about what we're doing. I love it.
Cool.
This
Yeah.
is
I'll
all
have to
just kind of
remember to stay focused on the chat though. That's going to be difficult for me.
yes, yes.
Yes, but I'll do it. I will do it.
Cool, cool.
I will do it. I have one too. Her name is Cat, and then 4 labs. Oh, 2 cats and a wee dog and a hubby. Yeah, you got to count that hubby in.
Yeah, he needs our help too. They all need our help.
Yes, they
Cool.
do.
All right,
All
guys. Well,
right.
we'll sign off. Des, if you want to just hang on with me, we're just going to smile for a second
Okay.
because if I hit the stop end stream right now, it'll cut us off right here. So
Okay. Okay.
we'll just wave goodbye to everybody, and then
Bye, everybody. Nice to meet you.
we'll see y'all soon. Thank you so
See
much.
y'all soon. Take care.
And we'll